Whether you're doing POA as a public or private student, paper one questions are really important. So today I want to look at some questions which are similar to those that came in the exams. The questions we're going to look at today were inspired by the actual exam questions. And the first one we're going to look at is May-June 2020, number 27. They asked us to find the current ratio of the business, all right? And we have to round it to 2 decimal places. That means you're going to have to use your relevant information from the top here where my cursor is moving to work out the current ratio. Now, the current ratio formula, on the left-hand side, we have current assets divided by current liabilities. And I know that is what some students learn. You only learn that part. But then a lot of students come to me and ask me, so how do we get the one on the right-hand side? The full formula is current assets divided by current liabilities. And on the right-hand side, current liabilities divided by current liabilities. Once you learn this and you put in all the necessary figures, you will end up with 2 numbers, one on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side. Now, you could get away with only learning the left-hand side, but you have to remember when you get the answer to put your colon and your 1. Because if you just write the answer for current assets divided by current liabilities as your answer, when they ask you to work out current ratio, you will get it wrong. Okay, so the ratio is supposed to have a number on the left, the colon, and a number on the right. All right, so let's use this formula and work out our current ratio. And for us to do that, we have to know what are the current assets and what are the current liabilities, because all of the information they gave us will not be necessary to work out current assets and current liabilities. So you have to know what is the criteria for determining whether something is a current asset or a current liability. Based on the information that we have, we only have 2 current assets and 2 current liabilities. And our first current asset is inventory. The other one is receivables. And our 2 current liabilities are the bank overdraft and the payables. The rest of the information is just there to confuse you. So you really have to know what you're doing. So I have my current assets 900 at 500 and my current liabilities 200 at 600. I work that out for my right-hand side because it's simple to work out, and I just write in 800 over 800. If you work that down, you will end up with 1400 over 800 on your left-hand side, and we have 800 over 800 on our right-hand side. If you continue to work that down, you will end up with 1.75 on your left-hand side, and you will end up with 1 on your right-hand side. So that means your answer is B. You can work out your total assets and your total liabilities separately, especially if you have a lot. Let's say you have 5 current assets, 5 current liabilities. It's going to be a bit difficult to put everything into your into the equation and put everything on top and below. So you can work on that separately, get your total figure, and then you just start from, let's say, where I have my cursor moving. You put your total current assets over your total current liabilities, and you continue working to get your current ratio. Number 2, this was inspired by May-June 2020, number 26. I hope you guys have your hard copies and that you will be able to go check back the original, right? Because you want to get as much practice as possible. So learn the concept from what I'm showing you and go follow what I am doing so that you can get your answer. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. And if this is good so far, drop a 1 in the chat as well for me. Number 2 asks us to find the net profit percent to the nearest whole number. Net profit percent to the nearest whole number. The formula is on the screen. Ooh, and I'm seeing it's getting a little bit. Let me take off the video just for 2 minutes, right? So the net profit percent is also known as our net profit margin. And the formula is on the screen. I actually have 2 formulas on the screen. Either one will give you the same working. All right, so we have profit for the year, all over revenue, multiplied by 100. Mathematically, they are the same thing. So what is the profit for the year? We need to know what is the profit for the year in order for us to work this question out. Profit for the year will be equal to our gross profit, add our discount received, minus our discount allowed, minus our rent expense. And when I shared this question some time ago, I realized that a lot of persons forgot how to deal with a discount received and a discount allowed. So we add the discount received to our gross profit and we minus our discount allowed. And while the expense was straightforward, a lot of persons remembered to minus the rent expense. So this is what we would end up with. Gross profit is 14,000. Discount received is 1,000. Discount allowed was 3,000 and the rent expense was 4,000. With that down, you will end up with 8,000 as your profit for the year. Now that is not the answer. We have to use that information to get the answer. So for us to find the net profit percent, we will have to take that 8 divided by our revenue, which in this case, they call it net sales, right? So 8,000 divided by 30,000, then you multiply whatever answer you get by 100. And that is going to give you 26.67, but they want us to bring it to the nearest whole number, meaning you're not supposed to have any decimals. Therefore, our answer would be 27%. Our answer for number 2, which is similar to May, June 2020, number 26, is B. And number 3, this was a really nice question, and I love how they brought this question because it was not the regular run-of-the-mill. They did not ask us to prepare or to calculate gross profit percent. They gave us the figures, they gave us the working, and we had to now tell them what a particular figure represents. So they want to know, what does the figure 628,900 represent? For us to know that, we have to remember what is the gross profit percent formula, right? We need to know what is the formula for gross profit percent in order for us to be able to say, what does that number underneath here represent? Do you remember the formula for gross profit percent? I'm convinced that remembering is a major problem for students, and that contributes to students thinking POA is hard or confusing. All right, so I want to ask you today, and I want you to ask yourself, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I doing what is necessary for me to remember the information? Because the information is not just going to stick in your head. Let's move back to the question. Gross profit percent or gross profit margin is calculated, as you can see, using the formula on the screen. So we have our gross profit, we divide that by our revenue, and then we multiply by 100. It's very similar to the net profit percent we covered earlier. So gross profit percent, net profit percent, similar formula. If you look at the formula, you're going to realize that the revenue is at the bottom, regardless of which one you use, right? It still will give you the same answer. It's still using the same characters or figures. So revenue is at the bottom, right? Revenue is here in blue, revenue is here in green. Let's look at what they gave us. 628,900 is at the bottom. This means that 628,900 is equal to our revenue. However, the options they gave us, we don't have revenue there, but we have total sales. So revenue is the same thing as total sales. All right. So really nice question. Compare your formula to what they gave you, and then you have to identify what that particular item is. Congratulations, you made it to the end of this video. I'm really proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourself as well. Please let me know in the comments if this was helpful, if you would like to see more videos like this. And of course, subscribe and like, so you will push these videos to more persons and so that more persons can be blessed. And of course, share, and share.